Okay, this is take 3 of we're doing a podcast called WTF, Walk in the Faith. And the reason why we are doing it now the third time is because we are having technical issues. Okay, we're having technical difficulties. So I'm going to start over again. So you can go back and like all the things. We are living in uncertain times. We are living in times that we've never dreamed up or thought up. You know, Jesus told us these things were going to happen. He said that we're going to come into a brand new structure. We're going to have new season. We're going to come into a place we've never been before. I thought it was interesting that when the Israelites were taken out of Egypt and brought into a brand new land, they were pressing Moses to find out, what do? We don't know what to do. This is all brand new. We've never seen this before. We've never done this before. We haven't lived here before. We don't know any of these things. And Jethro, his father-in-law, came and said, hey, sit them down in groups of 1,000, 100, 50, and 10. And when he did that, I thought it was interesting that our meeting sizes now, mandatory by our government, is 50 and 10. So the reason for that is because we can get information without it being panic driven and without us being able to, we can really understand. We can ask our questions. We can gather as a community. We can pray together. And we can have all this. I just want to tell you that this morning in Salt Lake City, there was an earthquake, and we've lived in Salt Lake for a number of years. We live in Texas now, but there was I think it's a 5.7, and we're finding out that the airport was compromised. The runways are compromised. There's 85% of businesses, I think, are out of power downtown. The Moroni, the thing on top of the Mormon temple that blows the trumpet, I think fell. I have to verify that, but I think it fell. And that thing's made out of gold, so that's interesting. And so the other thing was that I think, you know, here we are, and there were, I don't know how many aftershocks that were just really rattling buildings. And I've been in earthquakes before. I was in Oregon for a while, and we had an earthquake. I think it was a 6.9 in Wilsonville, Oregon, during the 90s. And it will get your attention, okay? But Jesus told us in Matthew 24 that, hey, there's going to be earthquakes that will come in various places. So don't be alarmed. Don't be freaked out. He said in John 16:33, he says, hey, in this world you're going to have tribulation, but be of good cheer. I've overcome the world. So we have to begin to take him at his word. We have to start living by faith. We're going to have to start accessing God's information. Unfake news. We're going to have to learn to live and see what he wants to do and how he wants us to conduct ourselves during these times. These are times we're never going to go back, and we're never going back to what we did before. We're going to see new structures begin to happen. We were given words years and years ago and dreams about new structures coming. The structures, in fact, Tim had, I don't know how many different dreams and words and different things that God was kept bringing the word up, structure, over and over and over again. And one day he was in the church praying, and he went home for lunch, and our daughter worked at a mall during that time, and there was a men's clothing store called Structure, and it was going out of business. So she got Tim a hat, and she came popping through the door, and she said, Dad, I got you a gift. And she took the hat out of the bag and put it on his head, and the hat was too small. And the message that God spoke to Tim at that time, my husband, was the current structure is too small to contain the head. That is a word right now. The current structure that we've had in place is too small to contain the head. Jesus is the head. The other thing I want to tell you is about finances. In the book of Haggai 2:8, it says that the silver is his and the gold is his. And I had a vision where I went into an open vision about 15 years ago, where I went into the bank vault of heaven. And to me, you know, we don't need big bank vault doors in heaven, but it looked like one. And it was probably for my benefit. And so it was open, and inside was a huge room, huge, more, I couldn't even see the ends. I couldn't see the walls. But what I could see was that there were windows of being opened, and there was a bulldozer in there, and the bulldozer would pick up gold and silver. It was piled and piled and piled, and it picked up gold and silver and said, Jesus had a yellow hard hat and a clipboard, and he would direct the bulldozer how much gold and silver to pick up in the bulldozer and what window to pour it out of. And the windows were opening and closing. And so in Malachi 3:10 it says, hey, test me in this. See what's going on. Bring your offerings into the storehouse so that my house will be filled. And he said, and see if I will not open up the windows of heaven and pour you out a blessing so much that there is not room to receive it or to store it. And when I watched this vision, that scripture came to me, and Jesus in that vision turned to me and winked, and he goes, I own it. The gold is his and the silver is his. We've got businesses closing down, people out of power, earthquakes happening in various places, just like Matthew 24 said it was going to happen. And we've got all these things, and it's a real good chance for us to all panic and get in fear. But fear has torment, but perfect love casts out fear. And so, we're going to have to remember that 1 John 4:18 says, fear has torment. It has torment. It will make you panic. It will make you freak out. And this is a walk of faith. It's WTF, walk in the faith. We are going to now walk a different walk. We are going to see things differently. We are going to calm down. We're going to listen to what God says. He's not falling off the throne. He's not freaking out. He's not having a meltdown because all these things are happening. He's literally in control. He's actually in control, okay? And he's taking care of things, and he's rearranging things, and he is reassembling things, and he is taking things apart that don't belong a part of his kingdom. There's been a lot of things that we've built and we thought they were good ideas. They just weren't God ideas, So, hey, I'm not down for sweating and striving. Unless the Lord builds a house, they're going to labor in vain to build it. I'm not going to do that. I am not laboring in vain to build something that God doesn't want built. We are still going to keep up our outreaches. And I don't know when we can fly. Again, I know the airport in Salt Lake right now is closed down, and that affects everyone, okay? That affects all kinds of travel. We know that we can't fly abroad right now, and they're wanting us to stay inside because they're just not sure about this virus and what it can do and the potential, and I guess it can stay in the air and live on cardboard. I don't know. I've heard all these different things. But regardless of what it is, he's given us authority. Jesus said already, he gave us authority over every disease. Okay, Matthew 10:1. He's given us authority, okay, over every disease. Listen, I have seen cancer cells disappear. I have watched people with terminal illnesses. I mean, they were given like 3 to 6 months to live. They got prayer. Their bodies were on fire with the presence and the power and the healing power of the great physician. And all of a sudden, their cancer cells are inactive. I've seen bone cancer healed. I have watched people with gum disease be healed. I have watched people with arms and limbs and things that weren't functioning right be completely healed. Feet healed, backs healed, metal falling out of people's bodies that was in there and it just clinked right onto the stage and fall off and get out of there. It's like, come on. Hey, we are walking in and we're entering into times that we've never seen or even imagined before. I'm excited about what God's doing. We need to remember to stay in faith, and we need to pray always without ceasing. We've got to pray, always to pray, and not faint. We cannot faint. We also need to do this, Matthew 25:1-13, get oil in your lamp. The 10 virgins were supposed to get oil in their lamp. 5 of them did it. Okay, 5 of them did it. The other ones didn't. Then when it all came down and there was too much going on all at once, they went to the 5 that got oil in their lamps and said, give us some oil so we can operate too. And they said, well, you should have gotten it when it was time. We also need to seek the Lord while he can be found and call upon him while he's near, okay? These are just practical things. This is WTF, walk in the faith. This is what we're going to be doing because things are going to happen without our notice, okay? We're going to see in part. Prophets always do. They see in part. They prophesy in part. In Amos, it said God does nothing except he first reveal it to his servants, the prophets. And so we have to be aware, be listening, be really diligent to pay attention, calm down, and let God tell us what he wants us to do. I know that 2 years ago, the Lord told me, he said, I want you to do 3 things in the coming season. He said, I want you to be honoring, I want you to be thankful, and I want you to be teachable. Psalm 119 is a teach me psalm. Teach me your ways and I'll walk in your truth. Give me understanding. Help me understand what's going on. Be honoring, be thankful, be thankful. Be honoring and be thankful, and be teachable. So when we're out and about, we're in stores, in different places, remember to be honoring to people. They're under a lot of stress. A lot of them don't have any anchor in God. They don't even know about God at all. They've been turned off. They don't think he's real. They don't know what to do. And be honoring, be kind, be thankful, and let God begin to unfold this to us. It's a new thing. We're getting blueprints little by little by little, but we don't have it all right now. We will, though. We're also going to gather ourselves together, and all the more as we see the day approach. That's Hebrews 10. We need to gather ourselves together, and all the more as we see that day approaching, because we need one another. Okay, we can't isolate ourselves forever. But groups of 10 and groups of 50, hey, you can pray. You can pray with authority. You can pray with intentional prayer. God will literally give you prayer and tell you what to say. And it's important for us to do that. So let's just be about it, right? Let's just be about letting God do this, letting him take away from us everything that doesn't belong with us in this season. Let us be connected with new alignments, new assignments, new appointments, all these different things that he's doing. He told us this was coming. So I want to bless you. I want to call you blessed. I want to call you encouraged. I want to call you full of faith. WTF, walk in the faith. Walk in the faith, right? And we're going to do this thing together. All right? So peace out. Enjoy yourself. Stay under the covering of peace. Jesus is the Prince of Peace. And he said, surely, Satan will be powdered underneath your feet. The Prince of Peace will be powdered, literally powdered underneath your feet. The only way the devil can get you in fear is if you don't have peace. If you come out from underneath the canopy of peace. Jesus said he'll also give you peace that goes way beyond your understanding. The ability to have peace that you don't get. You don't even know where it came from. You just have that peace that goes beyond our understanding. So I want to encourage you, all right? We're with you. We're going to be doing Facebook Lives at least once a week, maybe more. I don't know. As long as we don't have technical difficulties. I'm telling people, stop it. Let's do it again. All right. So love you guys, all right? Be in faith. We're going to be also interpreting some dreams. So, okay. Bye.